Education and Policy Division to order. We do have a quorum, and would anyone that has looked over the minutes like to move that we, for March 12th, that we approve the minutes?
Madam Chair, I'll move the minutes of March 12th.
Thank you, Representative Runbeck. Representative Runbeck moves approval of the minutes for March 12th, 2019. Is there any discussion? I think I'll just do a little discussion here because I haven't done this before, but I would like to recognize Addie Miller for doing such a good job on our minutes that we usually don't have a lot of discussion on them, so thank you very much. Hearing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion prevails, and the minutes for March 12, 2019 have been approved. We have a special guest here today. Doesn't serve on our committee, and that is Representative Nelson. Come on up.
In your page.
Welcome to the committee, Representative Nelson.
And Madam Chair, which bill would you like me to do first?
I would like you to do House File 225, and Representative Pryor would like me to call on her.
I would like to move House File 225, be referred to Ways and Means.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the committee.
And thank you, Madam Chair and committee and members. This is, both these bills are two HEPR projects for North Hennepin Community College. And the first one here is a chiller replacement. And members, these were bills I had last year, so I had them redrafted from last year. And so that's why the numbers that are in the bill are in the bill. I was just informed that the chiller replacement, and this I didn't understand last year when we drafted the bill, that the $140,000 that's in the bill is for one chiller. There's 8 of them. They now say the cost of that is $911,000 that they need for the chiller replacement. But I think we can do that moving forward to capital investments, or we can do that here either way. I think if we could I do a verbal amendment to change the number? Do you allow that in committee, or?
We can allow an oral amendment.
Okay, are members okay with that oral, doing an oral amendment? It's just a change in the dollar?
The dollar, the number amount, yeah.
Okay.
On line 1.6 and 1.12, change it from 140 to $911,000.
Okay, say the amount again, the line again?
Line 1.6
Yep,
and line 1.12
okay.
is change the 140,000 to 911,000.
Are there any objections for us taking that amendment today?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Representative Norris.
can we have an explanation one more time, maybe as to
Right.
why?
Well, when I
the big
put the
jump?
bill in, I was, and the information I was given last year, and there's, should be pictures going around of this. I was told that the 140,000 was the cost, but then that's 140 for each unit, and there are 8 units. I'm looking back here to make sure I got the information right. So the 140,000 was times 8, would have been last year's figure, and if the bills had gotten a hearing, that would have moved forward. I would have known that last year, but these are our chillers, what they use for air conditioning in the buildings. They're leaking very badly, and as the picture in the middle of your page, the picture you got that shows these chillers, and on the far right side, you can show they're leaking very badly, and chemicals are leaking out, water's leaking out, they're very inefficient, and this is to help increase the efficiency of these chillers. And so that's what the bill does. It's a bonding project to replace those chillers. And I was told that this year's their number one priority on the HEPR list for North Hennepin Community College.
Representative Norris, do you have a follow-up?
No, I do not.
Okay. So Representative Norris, being the lead on your side, do you have any objections with doing that as part of this committee, or would you prefer we wait?
I would not object to that. It's not just a little change, but it's quite big. But
Yeah.
we're not the final hoop here.
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay,
I have no
Representative
objection.
Quam.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm assuming that because the number that you're substituting is not 8 times the 140,
Is it-
that it's an actual number that was given.
Representative Nelson.
Madam Chair, Representative Cobb, yeah, last year when they had this, they had an estimate that the cost was going to be the 140,000, and now they've actually gone out and got estimates on it, a solid estimate from a contractor, so that now they know what the actual cost might be.
So it sounds like members won't object if we put the correct amount in here for today to have it move forward in the form that the author wishes.
can-
Representative.
Make that amendment.
Okay, Representative
Chair.
Klevorn.
Madam Chair, I just want to be really clear. If they're $140,000 apiece, and we need 8 of them, the amendment should be $1,120,000. Oh, you just clarified that? I'm sorry, I missed that.
I'm
then.
phoning a
Sorry.
friend here
Yeah.
from the college.
Okay, so,
Yeah, I'm so sorry, I missed that. Yeah.
right, okay, and so who do we have with us right now?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Stephen Kent. I'm the Vice President of Finance and Facilities for North Hennepin Community College. Representative Nelson is correct. When he came to our college, we had estimates for our chillers and our cooling towers for $140,000 each. We actually, since he departed and had our number, we actually went back out and got an actual pre-design. The engineers came in and surveyed our campus, our chiller, our issues. And I don't have the pre-design with me because it's real thick, but the total amount for the cooling towers / chillers to redo our whole campus, because they are the original coolers, which is over 50 years old, is $911,000.
Perfect.
And that includes the installation, the labor, and the actual replacement of the cooling towers, chillers themselves.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Representative Klevorn.
thank you for getting those economies of scale.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll just leave it at that.
Well, and Representative Kent, when he did give me a tour of the facility, he did offer to show me the boilers, but I trusted him. I wouldn't be able to evaluate, and
That's the
so.
next bill.
Right, yeah, so thank you for that tour of your facility.
Absolutely.
Okay, Representative Pryor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With the committee's permission, the chair's permission, I would like to make an oral amendment to House File 225. I would like to amend line 1.6 and 1.12 to change 140,000 to 911,000.
Okay, is everybody clear on that motion? Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The amendment is approved, so proceed.
And Madam Chair, that's, as I explained, that's the bill. It's replacing these 50-year-old chillers to increase the efficiency and to save, in the long run, we'd be saving money for the college and for the state.
Okay, so would you like to renew, okay, members, any questions? Representative Nornes.
Madam Chair, I was just going to ask one question, I guess. I assume that this was not included in Minnesota State's HEPA request for this session? Is that in there somewhere, or is this in addition to that?
Representative Nelson.
Madam Chair, Representative Nornes, I asked that question when I came in. The gentleman from the state overall colleges, they already said their goal is to, depending how much money they get from the bonding bill, I guess what it says. This is the North Hennepin Community College's #1 priority. And so they said they're going to try and fund the #1 priorities of all the schools, but it depends on how much money the state, they get in the bonding bill.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to testify? Okay. With that, would you like to renew your did somebody on the left? Representative Cleaver?
No.
Okay, so Representative Pryor,
I
would you like to
renew my motion that House File 225 be passed and referred to Ways and Means, as amended.
Okay, all those, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries. Okay. Well, bless you over there. Okay. Didn't know for sure it was a laugh or a sneeze. Hold it back. I
get
could
laughed
tell,
at.
yeah, that was definitely holding it back from Representative over there. I won't say the names because I was called out yesterday about my sneeze. Okay, so Representative Nelson, proceed. on the House File 226?
And Madam Chair, need a motion?
Representative Vang, would you like to move a motion for House File 226 to be referred to Ways and Means?
Yes, so moved.
Okay, Representative Vang makes a motion to refer House File 226 to Ways and Means. Proceed, Representative Nelson.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair and members. And House File 226 is, again, is a HEPR project for North Hennepin Community College. This one is Representative, or Chair Bernardi said, is the boiler. They've been replacing the boilers. They're trying to upgrade them, put in more efficient boilers, and for cost efficiency. And again, with inflation, because this is the language is the same language I had last year's bill. The cost has gone up on this from $800,000 to $1.9 million. And if we can, I'd like to amend the language so that it reflects the current cost.
Okay, could you tell us what that, the
Yeah.
cost is?
It's at 1.9 million from 800,000. And that would be, again, on lines 1.6 and 1.12.
I would like to make that amendment. I would like to amend this to House File 226 on line 1.6 and 1.12 to change 800,000 to 1.9 million.
Is there any discussion? Representative Quam.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and that's a rather substantial inflation rate. I assume that they found other problems or issues.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Kent.
Thank you, ma'am. Madam Chair, trying to get this right. Representative Quam? Okay, cool. As I said before with the cooling tower and the chillers, when Representative Nelson came to the college, we gave our best guess estimate on what the numbers would be with our own internal assets. But when we actually got engineers out to do an actual pre-design, we estimated low. The difference between the $800,000 and the 1.9 million is not strictly inflation. It was just that I don't have the resident experts on the campus, and we paid to get engineers to come out that will actually do the project of converting these 50-year-old boilers into 6 miniature, more efficient boilers. The cost came out to $1.9 million. It is totally not Representative Nelson's fault. We gave him our best guess numbers at the time, but before it comes here, we have to go back and do actual pay to get the numbers right. And we work with our system office. We got the pre-designs done, and it came out at $1.9 million. It is not inflation.
Representative Norton. Oh, Representative Quam has a follow-up.
I just want to say, Madam Chair, since we are actually changing, that's why I requested, more information so that we actually can say we appropriately discussed and understand why the change is made.
Thank you, Representative Quam. Representative Nornes.
Madam Chair, just a quick question. How many boilers are we talking about?
We have,
Mr. Kent.
yes, ma'am.
You're doing
We have-
fine.
Butter's fine.
We have 3 boilers at the time, 3 massive, huge boilers at the time. I have pictures. If you all want to see them, I can circulate them. We have 3 now. They're totally inefficient. We are spending more money trying to heat the campus with these old boilers than we would if we got the replacement boilers that would be 6 miniature ones, and then we would cycle them. We wouldn't run all 6 of them at the same time.
Madam Chair, I'm just
Representative Nornes.
shocked sometimes at the cost of some of these replacements that we have. 1.9 million is a lot of money just to heat a building.
Well, we have 10 buildings, but I
We
get
used
the
to be able to
Mr.
build a
Kent.
building for that price. But, yeah, I understand.
Representative Nornes.
And I understand the efficiency. I'm not sure if they're faulty or giving any problems, even though they're 50 years old, but obviously that's not something I could decide. But I guess I'm on the conservative side, and if you get another 10 years out of them, that'd probably be the way to go. But you don't want to be cold in Minnesota, so I'm not going to object to it. It just seems like 1.9 is a lot of money. Used to be.
Any other discussion? Okay, so would you like to renew your,
Samantha.
oh, sorry. Representative Vang.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to renew my motion that House File what do you-
226.
to 2020, the-
Okay, first we need to remove the amendment. I'm so sorry. Is that what you were kind of communicating with me on it? Took me a while to figure that out. Okay, so Representative Pryor,
I would like to renew my amendment.
do we need to say that better or to our legal staff, or is that okay to say? Okay, why don't you just clarify it?
Madam Chair and members, the oral amendment is page 1, line 6, delete 800,000 and insert 1,900,000. Page 1, line 12, delete 800,000 and insert 1,900,000.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The amendment passes. Now we can move over here.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to renew my motion, the House File 226, be referred to Ways and Means as amended.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Representative Daniels.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a thought occurred to me when we're going from 3 units to 6 units, and I'm sure there was probably some projections of savings in a, 10-year span or so. Do you have any of that information by chance to see how long it'll take for the payback on that one?
Madam Chair and Representative Daniels, if you look on
Representative Nelson.
the sheet I handed out, they estimate a 25% per year savings. So it would, and I don't know what the dollar cost, and I can get that. In fact, I was going to ask them to give me that, to what the costs are right now to heat. We save 25%, and they may pay for themselves in a very short time. So that's what this is about, too, is making sure we save money for the state in the long run.
Madam Chair,
Representative Daniels.
thank you for that. Sometimes they take like a 10-year payback, but this is going to be in roughly 4 or 5 probably tops. So it's nice to see a savings at the end of the rainbow here. So I appreciate that. I didn't get that handout, so I'm sorry, but I didn't see it in my packet.
Any other discussion? Now I'm going to ask you, Representative Vang, to renew your motion with the amendment. That would be great. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to renew my motion, the House File 226, be referred to Ways and Means with a recommendation to capital investment and as amended.
Thank you very much. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The motion passes. Thank you, Representative Nelson,
Thank you,
Mr. Kent,
Madam
for
Chair, and
being
thank
here
you,
today.
members. And
Representative Daniels, you are up. Well, hello, welcome to your committee, Mr. Daniels. Representative Daniels.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, my name is Representative Brian Daniels, and I have a request. It's actually in the HEPR request, but we wanted to maybe do a dual path just in case something gets cut back in the HEPR request. This is their first priority as well. I had it here in 2017, didn't get approved 17 or 18, so this is my third try, so I'm hoping third time's a charm. It's a roof repair. They had a major renovation, it must have been about 2013 and 14, and did a whole nice addition on the front. Just looks beautiful. We've had a number of meetings in this area, and that roof is fine. It's the one that they didn't remodel, the rest of the building, and it's tough to attract new students when you've got 5 yellow pails sitting out in the hallway trying to collect the water. And I just got to give a shout out to our South Central colleges, both in Mankato and Faribault. She had, Dr. Parker reported I believe it was a 16% increase in enrollment. And she's been in well in the higher double digits for 2 years in a row. So we've been preaching it here about not having to go to a 4-year college, and a 2-year degree can get you a really good job. So just a shout out, they're 14th in the nation right now for tech colleges, and they've got enrollment going up, and it's just a really good, positive programs going there. So, and what I'm requesting today is just the amount of $1,405,000 to fix the older part of the building under the roof and hopefully stop the leaks from coming in.
Is there any discussion by our members? Anyone in the public, in our audience, that would like to testify? Okay, Representative Pryor.
And as you said, this is not the first time you've had to make this, the request for this. Madam Chair, thank you. And you've checked and you've kept up with inflation?
Madam Chair, Representative Pryor, the amount I called when the bill's getting drafted, just before it got drafted, and I asked her if that amount was still the same from last year, and she said it is. Nothing has changed since last year. But thank you for the question.
Representative Daniels, would you like to move your bill before the committee?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, so go ahead.
My request would be to move it to Ways and Means for
Right.
possible inclusion.
Okay, so Representative Daniels would like to move House File 520 to be referred to Ways and Means. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The motion prevails. Thank you very much. And Representative Pryor.
Maybe.
Vice Chair Pryor, welcome to your committee.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Would you like to move your bill?
Yes, I'd like to move House File 1610 to be re-referred to Ways and Means.
Okay. Proceed.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Thank you for hearing House File 1610, a bill to renovate the Institute of Child Development facility for the University of Minnesota's College of Education and Human Development on the east bank of the Twin Cities campus. I also want to thank Representative Lilly for co-authoring this legislation and the support for this committee. The state request for this project is $28 million in general obligation bonds. The total project cost is $42 million, with the additional $14 from non-state sources. After HEPRA, this is the university's top bonding priority for the 2019 session. At the U of M's Institute of Child Development, undergraduate and graduate students study early childhood education and developmental psychology. Students work alongside award-winning faculty to make discoveries in areas including brain development, resiliency, adolescent substance use, and autism. And as we've heard in the committee already, the Institute of Child Development houses the #1 developmental psychology program in the nation. The proposed building is needed for the Institute of Child Development, ICD, to maintain its reputation and ranking. And I have to mention too, I have brought my babies to this building for research. And I know that, it's a wonderful institute that we have, and it's a wonderful resource in Minnesota, and that we rely on the research that comes from this as a state, and really appreciate the work that you do there. And I will turn it over to my testifiers at this point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And if you could state your name for the record and who you're with, we'd appreciate that.
Okay. My name is Bethany Kozalik, and I am with the Institute of Child
And can you
Development.
spell your last name? Can you spell your name for us, please?
Bethany, and then Koziolek.
Thank you.
Chair Bernardi and members of the committee, thank you for having me here today. My name is Bethany Kozalik, and I'm from Wells, Minnesota. I came to the University of Minnesota in the fall of 2016 as a sophomore because I completed college in the school's classes for college credit. So I started a year ahead. I'm in my third year, but because of this, will graduate this May with a degree in early childhood education. When deciding on a college, I was looking for a place that offered both child psychology and early childhood education as areas of study. Through my college search, I found that very few colleges in the state and even surrounding states offered both programs. Although I ultimately decided to major in early childhood education, having a strong foundation in child psychology was very important to me. I was also very glad to hear that the Institute of Child Development was #1 in the nation, which was a factor that certainly helped me make up my mind. After graduation this spring, I will be entering into the Masters of Early Childhood Education program, also offered through the Institute of Child Development. I hope to teach kindergarten or first grade, but eventually I'd like to go back to school to further my education in child psychology and become a school psychologist. I am also an honors student and have been working on my senior thesis project throughout the school year. I am creating a rating school for social emotional curricula that focuses on ease of implementation. Research on social emotional curriculum currently focuses on creating new curricula and measuring its effectiveness, but social emotional curriculum is not being implemented in schools because the barriers to doing so are so large. Although I came up with the idea for my project independently, the faculty and staff at ICD have been helping me every step of the way. Currently, I'm student teaching in the Shirley G. Moore Laboratory School, which is housed in the Institute of Child Development, and the teachers genuinely care about the children and the student teachers. I feel as though I've gained so many mentors and valuable experiences this semester through student teaching. I have been given chances to lead, teach, and be in charge of the classroom while still being supported and taking time to reflect with more experienced teachers. Although I have been enjoying my student teaching experiences, it's the first time that I've spent extended amounts of time in our current building. I've only had one class there because there are no classrooms. Having a space where all of our classes could be housed in one place, as is planned for the new building, would allow us to meet more fellow students and faculty and get the most out of our experiences. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And our next testifier, if you could state your name for the record and who you're with.
My name is Colleen Doyle, and I'm with the Institute of Child Development. Chair Bernardi, Representative Pryor, and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to share my story. I'm in the 5th year of my PhD training at the Institute of Child Development, and as Representative Pryor mentioned, ours is the #1 program in the country for child psychology. The central question driving my training and research objectives is, how does mental illness begin? My research integrates developmental psychology, biology, and neuroscience, but initially I never envisioned myself as a scientist or researcher. I grew up in Eagan and left Minnesota to go to college at the University of Chicago, where I planned to become a poet, and I was interested in poetry as a way to explore the complexity and mystery of the human condition. During my time there, I started reading papers on cognitive development and neuroscience and found myself thinking, wow, there are more neurons in the brain than there are stars in the Milky Way, and somehow they all work together to make us who we are. That's poetry. I made the decision to switch careers, and I knew I wanted to train to be a clinical psychologist in order to make a real-world impact with my research. I wanted to train with the best researchers in the field, and I discovered that program was in my backyard at the University of Minnesota. The Institute of Child Development's program is rich in history. It is the birthplace of developmental psychology, and it continues to produce the top researchers and clinical scientists in our field. When I applied to graduate school, I received offers from several other highly prestigious child psychology programs, but I came to the Institute of Child Development because it attracts the best faculty. It's an environment rich with collaborations, new ideas, and exciting work. And I must say, I came despite the pitiful physical condition of its building, which was the worst among the programs I saw. I also came because the Institute has a tradition of supporting students in conducting their own independent research. My research is aimed at understanding how a mother's stress during her pregnancy may impact the development of her child's brain. Throughout pregnancy, babies develop 250,000 brain cells every minute on average, and this pace of development continues into the first 3 months after birth. This is clearly a time of dynamic change and vulnerability for a child's brain, and yet we know very little about prenatal brain development and how it impacts trajectories of brain and behavioral development after birth. In my study, I see women 5 times during pregnancy and measure the development of the fetus's brain control over its heart rate. Mothers also tell me about the stress they're experiencing, and I measure the accumulation of cortisol, a stress hormone, in their hair. After their baby is born, I bring the mother and their baby to the Institute for several more research sessions. The quality of our building is an impediment to my research. In the testing room I use, even though pest control comes regularly, we have to sweep the room to be sure there are no dead or live ants to bother the babies. And when it rains heavily, we have trouble with the room flooding. Luckily, the last time this happened, it missed the high-end eye tracking equipment I'm using. The Institute needs a new building, and while it will not benefit me as I will graduate soon, it will benefit the many extraordinary students the Institute attracts and make it easier for students in the future to decide to train here. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Members, do you have any questions? Representative Lean.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Pryor, I see in the bill language, this project includes the demolition and replacement of the 68 building addition. Is the building currently in its original condition, original, I don't know, structure? Have there been improvements, additions to the building?
We'll get you accurate
sure.
information.
Yep.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
If you could
Yes.
Say your name and briefly answer Representative Lean's question, that would be excellent.
Yes, my name is Megan Gunner. I'm the director of the Institute of Child Development. Representative Chair Bernardi and Representative Lee. The 1967 building is exactly as it was built in 1967. There's been we haven't had any money to do any modifications on it. It is what we call our new wing. The other wing is 1913, and it was renovated last in 1967.
Representative Lean.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's pretty amazing, really. It makes me think a little bit. I don't know the exact years and the age and everything, but I think there's a greenhouse facility on the St. Paul campus that I think the legislature put some money into recently, and they had been waiting on that for, I think, over a decade. So this is, hearing about ants and water issues and babies, this is more than long overdue. So I certainly hope we can get this done with a good, strong bonding bill this year. Thank you.
Representative Lilly.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and Representative Pryor, thank you for bringing this forward. And many of us serve on capital investment, and we'll definitely happily carry your effort forward. But I believe this is part of the governor's proposals, and of course that always helps. And definitely this will be a priority for the state. And thank you. It's kind of neat to hear that we're number one. I have to sit next to this this hockey guy from St. Cloud, and he keeps rubbing it in about the Gopher hockey team. So I'm glad we're number one with your area, so thank you.
Yes, and Representative Quam.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and to the graduate student in your testimony, how far before birth are you looking in your research for human development?
Chair Bernardi and Representative Quam, thank you for the question.
Representative Doyle, can we just, okay, what is it, Dr. Doyle? What is it? I'm sorry, no, go ahead. Tell me your name again. Yeah.
Just Miss Doyle.
Miss Doyle. Okay, and let's just make sure we keep our questions pertinent to what we're supposed to do in our committee. So briefly answer the
Understood.
question.
I will not geek out on you. We begin measuring fetal central nervous system development at 20 weeks gestation, and we continue to follow fetal development through the end of pregnancy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no further questions, Representative Pryor, Vice Chair Pryor, would you like to make any final comments?
Thank you for the support and hearing our bill, House File number 1610.
Okay, so you renewed your motion?
And I would like to renew my motion that this be passed and re-referred to Ways and Means.
That House File 225 will be referred to Ways and Means as moved by, no, excuse me, I screwed that up.
1610.
I'm on the first page. Sorry. 1610, Representative Pryor moves her House File 1610 to be referred to Ways and Means.
Thank you, Madam
Got that
Chair.
right. Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we have with us Representative Stephenson. Welcome to our committee. Okay, well, I will move that House File 1424 be referred to Ways and Means. And welcome to our committee,
Thank you, Madam
Representative
Chair.
Stevenson.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for hearing this bill, which has to do with one of the most significant financial crises occurring in the country and in Minnesota today. I suspect that most members are aware that our country is in the middle of a student loan crisis. Total student debt in the United States recently surpassed $1.5 trillion, passing credit card debt. There's more student loan debt in the country now than credit card debt or all loan debt. The only source of privately held debt that's larger is mortgage debt in our country. And of course, this is also a problem right here in Minnesota. We have 775,000 student loan borrowers in Minnesota who hold $27.1 billion in debt. And it's a rapidly growing problem, 127% increase in student debt in Minnesota from 2007 to 2017. And this is not a problem that affects only the metro. This is a problem across the entire state. In fact, 51% of millennials in greater Minnesota hold student debt. And I'm sure that all the members of this committee, as I have heard stories of people putting off major life decisions, choosing not to buy a house or buy a car or move out of their parents' home or have children because of the massive financial obligations that they have to pay their higher education debts. This bill attempts to help students who are struggling with student loan debt have protections against abusive practices by student loan servicers and just broadly navigate the world of student loan debt. And this is a big problem because it's an increasingly complex world and the consequences for missteps are huge. So I'll just give you one example. There is a program in the federal government called Public Service Loan Forgiveness, which allows students or borrowers who serve in the public, either working for the government or working for a not-for-profit. If they work for 10 years, they can have their student loans forgiven. It's an important program that a lot of people are attempting to take advantage of right now. But it's actually a relatively new program. The program only came into existence in 2007. So the first people who were eligible to participate in that program applied for forgiveness in 2017. And according to the Department of Education report that came out in 2018, of the 29,000 people who applied for forgiveness, 98% were rejected. And of those, 28% of the rejections had to do with filing errors. More than 70% had to do with not meeting program requirements. People had been in the wrong payment plan or thought they had a job that met public service requirements, and turns out it didn't. So you can imagine the life plans that people made based on this program, only to find out they had made a simple mistake to devastating consequences. So one of the important provisions in this bill is establishing an office within the Department of Commerce of a student loan advocate, someone who would be on the side of the borrower, helping students navigate the student loan system and our repayment options, and being a cop on the beat to make sure that there isn't abuse going on by the servicers who work in this field. And having said those things, I have a few testifiers today who have signed up, and I think that they can probably put a finer point on this than I ever could. So I'll turn it over to them at this time.
Thank you very much. Welcome to our committee, and please state your name and who you're with. And if you're with yourself, that's just fine too. Just and if it's a complicated name, please spell it for the committee.
My name is Heather Bakke, B-A-K-K-E. I'm here I teach at Gibbon Fairfax Winthrop High School in Winthrop, Greater Minnesota. Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Heather Bakke. I'm a high school special education teacher, and I'm also president of our local union. Recently, I reached out to my 60 members asking them about how student loans impact their lives and the lives of their family. In our district, the base salary for teachers is $37,750. We have teachers paying anywhere from $300 a month to $1,000 a month on student loans, basically another car payment or even a mortgage payment. What does this mean for our teachers? Many are putting off life decisions like buying a home or having children. Others are working second or third jobs to make ends meet. These massive debt loads don't just affect the borrowers. Teachers told me that their parents are trying to do what they can to ease the burden for their adult children. In 1995, I graduated from college with a social studies degree. At that time, I joked that a principal could throw a rock out the front door of the school and hit 10 social studies teachers. I struggled for years to find a permanent job. I did long-term sub-assignments. I got a variance to teach special ed. I moved to Alaska to teach. And finally, I went back to school to be certified to teach special education. The good news is I love being a special ed teacher. The bad news, during those years I struggled to find a permanent job. I deferred my loans and added more interest to debt I couldn't afford to pay back. I've spent a lot of time and effort trying to figure out how to get these loans paid off. I consolidated my loans and I'm in the federal public service loan forgiveness plan. The idea that I was given that I will continue to work in my school and make payments for 10 years and my loans will be forgiven. Little did I know that dealing with my loan servicers would take the tenacity of a bulldog. To have my loans forgiven through the federal program, I need to make 120 qualifying payments. I called this fall to double check. They calculated my numbers of payments correctly. So I've been in the program for 3 years, so I should have 36 qualifying payments. Nope, they only recorded 9. After talking to several more people, they told me I needed to fill out a new form. I asked them if I missed some information when I filled out the form the first time. I was told they don't let borrowers know when they need the information. I filled out the form again, more errors on their end. They say I've only made 10 payments now. These loan servicers are preying on borrowers, hoping we will just get tired of fighting and give up. One of my teachers was one of the 98% that got turned down after she had paid for 10 years, and she just gave up. That's why the Student Borrower Bill of Rights is so important. It would give teachers like me an advocate to help me when I'm getting the runaround from my loan company. It would help Minnesotans know their rights when it comes to their loans and offer assistance when there is a problem. Most importantly, it would require loan servicers to be licensed and to have to adhere to standards or face consequences. I want to thank you for hearing my testimony and listening to my experiences with student loans.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Hello, welcome to the committee. Please state your name.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Aaron Done. Madam Chair,
Could you please spell your last name?
yes, Donais.
Thank
I get asked that a lot. Madam Chair and members of the committee, my name is Aaron Done, and I am a fifth-year high school social studies teacher and special education teacher in Babbitt, Minnesota. I'm a proud alumnus of the University of Minnesota Duluth, and I'm currently pursuing my master's degree in special education through Bemidji State. The school I teach at is very small and also happens to be my high school alma mater. In order to continue teaching full-time in my hometown, I needed to pursue a second license. Of this choice, I have only one regret: my debt load. I am speaking to you today to stress the importance of tackling the education debt crisis, a massive multi-billion-dollar problem. Right now, I have a total student loan debt of $44,615. Each month, I make a payment of $192.59 on a revised pay-as-you-earn program. Each payment credits around $20 toward my loan principal. The other $170 goes to interest. One of the biggest frustrations is I did everything right through college. I don't know what else I could have done to lower my loan balances. I received plenty of scholarships. I graduated from high school with 35 credits, attended a public in-state university, and worked throughout college. My parents made too much for me to receive Pell Grants or other assistance, but too little to simply cut a check. Before college graduation, I heard about a program that could help with the student loan debt for teachers and other public employees, so I did some digging, in large part due to the information available from my union, Education Minnesota's Degrees Not Debt program. I jumped at the opportunity to sign up for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program once I'd settled into my job, beginning the 10-year clock of payments on my then balance of $32,000. After my second year of teaching, I decided to return to college for my master's in special education, which meant more loans. Once I took out these new loans, they stopped making payments on my old loans. Apparently, they automatically defer repayments on loans when the new loan is dispersed. After my first 3 semesters in the Bemidji program, I elected to pay for my tuition without resorting to loans. It was hard, and to add to the pain, I had accrued more interest on the loans I thought I had a handle on through the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. I did my due diligence and researched student loans. I worked during college, and I continue to teach full-time while taking master's classes. The information relating to student loans, when it's even available, is overwhelming at best. The citizens of Minnesota need someone on their side who can disseminate accurate information and hold student loan servicers accountable. Please support House File 1424. The student loan system is immensely complex, and the loan servicers know it and use it to their advantage. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee.
Thank you for your testimony. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name and spell it if you don't think we're going to be able to.
Sarah Rother, R-O-T-H-E-R.
Oh.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name, as I stated, is Sarah Rother. I've been a middle school social studies teacher in the Chaska district for 20 years. To get where I am today, I have obtained my bachelor's, master's, and specialist degrees. My educational journey and the opportunities it has created for me have become a critical part of who I am as a teacher. Unfortunately, all of this education came with a really hefty price tag, a price I could only pay with student loans. I'm also the mother of 2 spunky daughters who are 7 and 3. They are actually the ones who motivated my husband Travis and I to get our financial affairs in order. We want them to grow up with a healthy relationship with money. So when I heard about the Degrees Not Debt session coming to our district, I jumped at the opportunity to learn more. After attending the session provided by my union, Education Minnesota, it became clear that the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program was the way to go. I was hopeful, optimistic, and fully committed to making this work. I took the first step and applied for a direct consolidation loan with an income-based repayment plan on November 7, 2018. I opted to keep Navient as my loan servicer because I thought it would be easier to stay with the same company. But then I got my first piece of communication back from Navient about my application 2 weeks later. Instead of helpful and clarifying information, what I received was confusing, misleading, and baffling. The loan summary sheet had various columns with different repayment plan estimates. The column that made me gasp in fear was entitled Initial Payment, which had estimates as high as a whopping $2,875. Travis and I were shocked, but agreed that we would make it work if it meant we would be free of my student debt in 10 years. Then I looked at the fine print at the bottom of the page. Initial payment did not mean a one-time only first-time payment as we assumed. It was the estimated lowest possible amount I'd be required to pay each month. Apparently, this was different than the $500 maximum payment listed in another column. This huge corporation was trying to mislead me, and that's when the tears of frustration came. This is exactly what I did not want my daughters to see on my face, was financial stress and worry. I want them to see education as a gateway to their future, not as shackles of insurmountable debt. I decided to use my resources and emailed the Degrees Not Debt experts at Education Minnesota. They were confused and frustrated with this communication from Navient as well. However, they were able to give me some helpful guiding questions. Finally, on December 15th, I found out that starting the very next day, I would owe $750 a month, almost twice what I was already paying. My husband is also a teacher, and his loans are $450 a month. We felt like we were drowning. We decided our best course of action was for me to apply for a forbearance, which would allow me to stop making payments for 1 year. It was approved, but not without more issues, more hassles, and more headaches from Navient. I still owe Navient $48,000, $78,000 with interest when it's all said and done. It will be paid off by 2037. Student loan borrowers like me need someone on our side to protect us from abuses by loan servicers and lenders. Please support House File 1424 so we have a student loan watchdog, making sure those who take out student loans have standard consumer protections from misinformation, customer service failures, and discriminatory practices. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. And please state your name for the committee, and I want to let you know we had scheduled till 3:30 on this bill, and we may have some questions. So I don't sure if we told you 2 or 3 minutes, but if you could keep your remarks to 2 minutes, that would be very helpful.
Sasha
Thank you.
Younginger, Yunginger.
Thank you. Proceed.
Madam Chair and members of the committee, my name is Sasha Younginger, and I'm a special education teacher at Roosevelt High School in Minneapolis. I have taught for the past 10 years, and I currently teach 10th grade. Like so many teachers, I am wondering if the stress we feel on a daily basis is worth it. In addition to the increasing challenges we face in public education, I am in debt $123,000 from student loans. I have no idea how I can ever repay these loans. When I graduated from college 10 years ago, I had a much smaller loan balance. My first loan servicer told me my monthly payment would be $900. $900 on a first-year teaching salary. When I told them I couldn't afford that payment and asked about other options, I was told that it was $900 and that was that. They told me that if I had paid less, that it wouldn't count, and it wouldn't count as a qualifying payment. I offered to pay as much as $300 a month, but they still said no. After failing to make their qualifying payments, they began to garnish my wages. I was able to get into rehabilitation plan for these loans, making payments for a required 9-month period. But after completing the rehabilitation, my servicer told me that they had no record of these additional payments, and it does not count. I want to share what frequently happens when I call my loan servicer. I call the number that I have been given to talk to about my rehabilitation plan, and the person on the other end of the phone tells me that no one there can help me, and they give me a second number. I call the second number, and I'm referred to a third, then a fourth number, and then inevitably back to the first number, and I called, and no one is able or willing to help. I have since learned that if my loan servicer had told me 10 years ago that I could have been on an income-driven repayment plan, I might have been able to afford my loan payments from the start. I'm no longer eligible for the teacher loan forgiveness plan because of this. I asked all the questions I could think of to ask. If they had told me the truth, my life would be much different than it is today. I can't afford my own apartment, let alone my own home, based on loan payments I'm required to pay. I dream of fostering children in need, but until my finances are stable, that's not an option. I know I'm not alone, and that other people have nightmares experiences like mine. This bill puts in place so many things that could have helped me. If loan servicers were required to keep records, if they had to meet standards for sharing information with borrowers like me, or if simply they had to provide me with information about different repayment options, my life would be different now. Please support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Representative Stephenson, did you have any remarks, or we move on to questions?
I'm happy to answer any questions the committee has. I know you're short on time.
Yeah, Representative Lucero.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To you or the bill author, do we have a fiscal note on this bill?
Representative Stephenson.
Madam Chair, Representative Lucero, a fiscal note's been requested. The Finance Committee for this bill is the Jobs Committee, so it'll be going there after this, and we'll have a discussion about cost there.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So then, when I'm reading lines, where is it? Under the duties, so section 2, line 2.21, receive, review, and attempt to resolve complaints from borrowers. So what is the current process if there is a borrower that has a complaint now? What is the status quo for submitting complaints? Who would they go to?
Representative Stephenson.
Madam Chair, Representative Lucero, it's a great question, and I think a lot of the people in the audience are wondering exactly that. Who do they go to? That's what the bill is about, is giving them a point person to go to. We hear of people trying to reach the Department of Commerce or reaching the Attorney General. In many other states, attorneys general are bringing lawsuits against loan servicers, but there isn't a point person in our government right now for that type of conduct. That's exactly what the bill is trying to get at.
Representative Lucero.
Thank you. And then one more question on lines well, beginning on section 6, so subdivision 1, it says a student loan servicer must not directly or indirectly attempt to mislead a borrower. Subdivision 2 must not engage in any unfair or deceptive practice to or misrepresent or omit any material information. Must not knowingly or negligently misapply student loan payments. Must not knowingly or negligently provide inaccurate information. Must not knowingly or negligently make a false statement or omission of material fact. Must not violate any other federal, state, or local laws, including those related to fraudulent, coercive, or dishonest practices. And so as I'm reading this list, I'm thinking to myself, these things, if not most, at least all or most of them are already against the law, especially that last one, subdivision 8. Why do we have a provision in the bill that says you cannot violate a federal, state, or local law?
Representative Stephenson.
Madam Chair, Representative Lucero, I think that, number one, we're talking about, as a lawyer, we talk about a belt and suspenders approach. And when you're talking about giving the Department of Commerce police sort of the responsibility of police behaviors of student loan servicers, you want to try and give them a broad mandate to go after the conduct that you find objectionable. And so making that clear that this is what we're asking the Department of Commerce to be on the lookout for, I think is very important.
Thank you. Representative Runbeck.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just trying to understand, why wouldn't this be the responsibility of the different schools within MNSCU? I mean, they're the ones benefiting by having students, pay to go there. And there's all kinds of counselors there. I just don't understand why this is the best route. I mean, setting up something new, it seems like it's a parallel to the banking industry. I mean, if you're getting a loan, maybe these aren't loans from the banking industry. I think Obama, didn't he, relieve us of that? Or it's very, very puzzling, it seems to me. But I mean, they sound like independent operators. You're saying, this servicer may adopt procedures. The servicer, if they regularly report such information, seems, are they independent operators? Are they employees of the Department of Commerce? Where do they,
Representative Stephenson.
Madam Chair, Representative Runbeck, just very initially, just to correct a big piece, I think when you were talking about who brought most of the federal loans into the federal government, it was under President Bush, not President Obama. As to your question about who they is, I guess I'm a little confused as to who you're referring to. The student loan servicers aren't part of the Department of Commerce, nor are they part of the MNSCU system. They are independent companies that contract with the federal government to service loans. In addition, there are some servicers that operate on private student loans that have nothing to do with the government or MNSCU or anything else.
Okay, that helps a bit. Thank you, Madam Chair. But
Representative Runbeck.
Why wouldn't we spell out exactly what they must do then? I mean, I don't see that they're negotiating on behalf of the client, negotiating with the loan provider.
Representative Stephenson.
Madam Chair, Representative Runbeck, when you say they in that sentence, I'm just...
I mean, Madam Chair, this loan servicer.
The servicers?
Representative Stephenson.
Madam Chair, so actually I'm glad you raised that because there is an amendment that we tried to get ready for the committee. It's not quite ready yet, but we're going to have it the next prime time that does create some affirmative duties for the servicers. And so we are working on that.
Thank you for bringing that up. Representative Vang.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Representative Stephenson, for your work on this bill. I'm just looking at the line 3.6, increase public awareness that the ombudsperson is available to assist. Just wondering if there's a outreach plan. I want to make sure that this is a great resource, it's a very much needed resource, and that it's accessible and well known to as many people who need it.
Representative Stephenson.
Madam Chair, Representative Vang, I think that's a very good point, and I think that it's something that we should look at putting additional language in to make sure that we're reaching out to all communities, in particular, people who are going to college for the first time in their family, right? I mean, my wife had that experience, and I can tell you that she would have made different decisions about what college she would have gone to and how she would have financed it if she had had some guidance and some more information that hopefully the student loan advocate can provide. So I think that's very important.
And I have one more question here. Representative Lean.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have a question, just a comment. Representative Stephenson, I appreciate you putting in this work, bringing this bill forward, House File 1424. I'm not going to sit here and speak to the ills of corporations or say corporations are evil or anything. I certainly understand and respect that corporations are good partners in our communities, independent businesses, they make capitalism go around, and that's how this country functions. But we should acknowledge that corporate bureaucracy, and I'm not going to say government's good, corporations are bad, but corporate bureaucracy can be just as cumbersome and complex as government bureaucracy. And so I think it is good that we look for ways to help people navigate that terrain of corporate bureaucracy, especially around this issue of student loans, where, as you say, it's behind mortgage debt, the number one source of personal debt in this country. So thank you for bringing this forward, helping people out.
Representative Stephenson, do you have any closing? Oh, does anyone else in the public like to testify on this bill? Excuse me. We do have a person that would like to. Thank you, and welcome to the committee, and state your name and organization for the record.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Pat Benner. I'm a legislative representative for AFSCME Council 5. I just wanted to come down and express my support for this bill. It's a bill that will very much help working families, particularly ones like my own. My wife has approximately $80,000 worth of student debt, and she is participating in that federal loan forgiveness program. And, at the end of it, if it turns out that the people who are servicing her loans decide that we have not paid enough, it would be really great to have an option to pursue some justice. This is also something where, because so many of our members work in public service and they would have access to a loan program like that, it's something that it seems like would be very useful for us. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, well, did you have any closing comments, Representative Stephenson?
Madam Chair, I know you're short on time. I'll just say it's a great bill, and I ask for your support.
Okay. So I will renew the motion that House File 1424 be referred to Ways and Means. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay, and Representative Howard is on his way. Where is he? He's just across the hall, so that is a good place for him to get here quickly from. Okay. I think we're going to wait to move the bill when Representative Howard gets here, but we could start with the testimony if everybody agrees with that, so we don't have to go. You're on the bill? Okay, do you want to be up there until he comes? And then you can move the bill. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so Plan B is a good option. Representative Pryor, Vice Chair Pryor is going to, she's an author on the bill. She's going to move the bill and get it started, and then when Representative Howard is able to get here from his other committee, he will take over. So Representative Pryor, Vice Chair Pryor.
And
would you like to move your bill?
We're moving it for...
Oh, okay. We are moving it to be laid over, so House File 1844 to be laid over.
All right. Madam Chair, I move that House File 1844 be laid over for possible inclusion.
Thank you very much. So welcome to our committee, and please state your name and who you're with. That'd be great. And
for the record, my name is Amy Goodmestad, Gudmestad, and I am the Executive Director of Minnesota Independence College and Community. Thank you, Representative Pryor, for motioning and for the support of MICC. Thank you to the co-authors of this bill, Representatives Bernardi, Pryor, Nornis, Franson, Daniels, Hewitt, Albright, and Zerwas. Chair Bernardi and members of the committee, I would like to sincerely thank you for your time today and for your support of MICC. Your continued investment is having a truly incredible impact on the lives of our students, graduates, families, and citizens across Minnesota. You previously knew us as Minnesota Life College. But like I mentioned in our last hearing, we have changed our name to Minnesota Independence College and Community to better encompass our full educational mission, serving students with autism and learning differences. We believe that everyone deserves the opportunity to discover their full potential and live a vibrant life. MICC is unlike any other higher education institution. We are the only program of its kind in the country, and we are extremely proud to make Minnesota a leader in taking initiatives to provide higher education to all student populations, including those with learning differences and on the autism spectrum. Minnesota has institutions across the state that do a great job of educating students to fulfill their personal and professional aspirations. But some students need additional education in other areas of their lives in order to have the ability to retain skills they need to reach their full potential. We primarily serve Minnesota students. We are known nationally, and we have educated students from all over the country and also educated students, international students. We are proud to note that the students that have come from out of state and other countries have chosen to stay in Minnesota, becoming active community members and contributing to Minnesota's economy. Our institution has been providing educational opportunities that cannot be found anywhere else for college-age students for over 23 years. And we are very excited and proud to share that Wilder Research return on investment that would say that the impact we had on the state of Minnesota is strong. Not only is your investment in MICC transforming the lives of students with autism and learning differences and their families, but for every dollar you invest in MICC, it provides a $72 return on investment for the state. You can find the full research in the summary folders. A recent comprehensive study on young adults with autism spectrum disorders revealed that in the years following high school, over half did not have paid employment and were not enrolled in post-secondary vocational training or college. We also know that approximately 50,000 individuals with autism spectrum disorders turn 18 each year in the United States. At MICC, our students take a unique 3-year higher education program to gain the skills they need to gain competitive employment, live fulfilling independent lives, and contribute back to society. The MICC college program encourages personal growth for each student through a unique and individualized process in a real-world setting. Our approach to independence and vocation is by teaching 5 areas of competency: independent living skills, social emotional skills, vocational readiness and training, healthy living, community connections, and team building. After graduation, our students become members of our community living program to stay active and involved in the community and one another through a social calendar, and are able to receive professional assistance from MICC when needed.
Excuse me one moment, Ms. It's Goodmestad? Yes. I would like to save at least a minute for your testifier, and we have another bill here left to hear. Yep. So if you could just wrap up, and so we have a minute for your testifier to be able to testify, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'll just let Sydney.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, I'm a student at MICC, and I'm from Inver Grove Heights.
And can you state your name for the record? And welcome to our committee.
For the record, my name is Signe Pearson. I am a student from Inver Grove. I'm a junior at MICC. Before MICC, I only had a few friends, and I had a hard time with personal boundaries. Thankfully, my parents found MICC. I am gaining the skills to be employed and live on my own. I share an apartment with Marit and Kayla. The classes have opened my mind to new things. I like to learn and I enjoy all my classes. MICC has helped me find myself as a young adult. MICC has taught me to be more independent, confident, and flexible. Developing independent living skills is one of my biggest goals. I am cooking meals by myself, doing my own laundry, and cleaning my apartment. I am learning how to ride the city bus. I am in retail certificate program. I find it hard to work with challenging people, especially if they're my roommates. I have learned flexibility, which I understand is important at a workplace. I am proud to say I was awarded Student of the Month for flexibility. I don't know where I would be without MICC. It fits my strengths. I like to have a list of tasks to complete and goals to work toward. The staff support me, my peers challenge me, and together we are learning from one another. I have had the opportunity to be a leader among my peers, and I'm willing to try new things. Like for today's example, without MICC, I wouldn't have considered speaking in front of you and sharing my story, letting you know how much MICC is in my classes, and the hundreds of students who will follow my footsteps. Before I go, I want to invite all of you to be my guests at the MICC Gala, March 23rd. The gala is one of my favorite nights of the year. Thank you for your time and listening to my story.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Do members have any questions? Oh, Representative Howard, you didn't get to talk about your bill beforehand, so maybe you can do that now and maybe you not have closing remarks at the end. How's
Sure.
that? Okay,
Thank you, Chair Bernardi, and thanks to the committee. It's deadline week, so we're kind of all in about 3 places at once. And I just want to say that MICC is just a treasured gem for our community in Richfield, but really their entire state. I had the opportunity to take a tour of MICC this fall, and I met Signe, and it just, you can sense the power that MICC is putting into Minnesotans, and I'm sure the testimony shared, the track record is just really unbelievable. It speaks for itself, and this is a school that is doing something innovative, unique, and we should be proud of it in Minnesota, and we should invest in it. And I really encourage the committee to support this bill.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to testify? Okay, we have. Please state your name.
Chair Bernardi, members, thank you for having me. My name is Lisa Keitel, Keitel. I'm a resident of St. Paul, and my son Andrew is a 2018 graduate of Minnesota Independence College and Community. Like all parents, my husband and I were caregivers, case managers, and advocates for our son's first 18 years of life. Andrew's learning differences include slow processing speed, difficulty initiating and breaking down big tasks, and reading social situations and responding appropriately. Early on, it was clear that a traditional academic college or university, even with the assistance of disability services, was not a good fit after high school. This is a very lonely and frightening feeling as a parent. The process for all parents to find post-secondary options for their child is complicated, stressful, and time-consuming. This is true even with the support of school counseling departments. For parents of children with intellectual and developmental disabilities, let's add terrifying to that list, because schools are not required to provide information regarding post-secondary education options that might best fit their child's needs. That is why I'm thrilled to see and to speak in support of this bill. Quote, requiring the Office of Higher Education to inform students of post-secondary education options for those with intellectual and developmental disabilities, end quote. We are so very grateful to have found Minnesota Independence College and Community. Andrew is living independently, working 5 days a week, and is self-advocating for his needs. With the support of this bill, families like ours will have the necessary resources to learn about places like MICC and hundreds of other post-secondary options, and not feel they are facing the future alone. I sincerely thank each of you for your time and your commitment in supporting students and young adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, supporting them as they find their way to their own successful and independent future. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much for your testimony. And what we're going to do is go on to member questions, and I want to ask members if they would like to get through by 5 or 10 after with this bill and our additional bill, or do we need to schedule another meeting for later this evening?
Madam Chair, 4 or 5?
What's that, 5 or 10 minutes after? We'll be able to finish our bills if all the members are
I
on.
thought you said 5 p.m. Sorry, I was.
I'm so sorry. Okay.
Madam Chair, let's press forward.
Okay, let's press forward. So our commitment is to get done within 5 or 10 minutes after this committee and get through all these bills. Okay, so we have Representative Daniels, Lucero, and Runbeck. And is anybody else going to be want to put on the list? We'll just manage it from here. Okay, go ahead, Representative Daniels.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had the opportunity to come to the graduation last May, and it was, I believe, 15 students, I believe, that graduated. They all spoke for about 10 minutes each, and just a wonderful program. And I thought it was really nice, and I was thinking this is a really good thing. And then I had, at the end of the program, Representative Christensen and I were mentioned because we were helping with the funding. So after the program was done, I'll make it short, one of the dads from one of the kids who graduated came over to our table, and he sought me out, and he says, thank you for doing that. I'm moving my son out of my basement today, and he gives me the fist bump. I said, I know we're doing something right now.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Representative Lucero.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question is for Signe. I appreciated your testimony. Thank you for sharing that with us. And as I'm looking at the course here, course overview, I'm just wondering if you can share with us what your favorite course was or is.
Ms. Pearson.
Actually, all of them because I like to learn.
Oh, that's awesome. That's the best answer ever. Ms. Runbeck.
Thank you, Madam.
Representative Runbeck.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I see that this is added to some responsibilities of the Office of Higher Education, and I just wonder if they're in support. I mean, are they, it sounds like an easy thing to do, just get this done. So
Right, and so
curious
we-
if they're happy with that.
Yes, thank you for the question. Ms. Grimes is going to, from the Office of Higher Ed, will come and hopefully be able to put some light on the position of Office of Higher Ed. Thank you, and welcome to the committee.
Madam Chair, Tricia Grimes from the Office of Higher Education. The Office of Higher Education currently has a list of responsibilities about informing students and parents about their options for going to college and paying for college. This would add to those responsibilities, and we think that that's appropriate for us to take that on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Any closing comment? Go ahead. Did you have another one? I'm sorry, Representative Runbeck.
No, I mean, Madam Chair, and thank you. It does make me wonder why the whole area of student loan advising wouldn't also come under that. It seems like it's, just in keeping with what their responsibilities are. So, thank you.
Okay, so that was our list. And I would like, Representative Howard, would you like to make any closing remarks?
I'll be brief. Thank you to the members for the questions, and thank you to the testifiers. I really, really appreciate it. MICC gives their students the chance to fulfill their full potential, and I believe everyone deserves that opportunity. I would really appreciate your support of House File 1844. Thank you very much.
Okay, I will renew the motion that House File 1844 be laid over for possible inclusion in the Higher Education Omnibus Bill. The motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Representative Bierman is up next. Thank you for your patience. We- Welcome to our committee, Representative Bierman. Does anyone want to take part in moving his bill? Okay, to Representative Zhang.
I move House File, sorry, looking at 1844?
1895.
1895, sorry.
To be laid.
To be laid over. For
Yes.
possible inclusion.
Thank you very much. Please proceed, Representative Bierman.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Committee. Bill number 1895 establishes a continuing education program for career and technical education licensure. Not every high school student wants or needs to go to the standard four-year college, and we can and should do a better job at presenting broader career options and possibilities for youths. Good-paying jobs await in many industries in the career and technical professions. A greater volume of vocational training and career technical professions offered at the high school level is sorely needed. Trades are experiencing a lack of qualified applicants now. The need for vocational programs is real, and schools are seeking qualified teachers. Bill number 1895 will help address this gap. I have with me today Mr. Dan Smith, who has quite a history in this field and can provide background and a lot of information on where we stand and where we could be going.
Hello and welcome to our committee. If you could please state your name for the record and who you're with, that would be great.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Daniel Smith. I'm here today speaking in favor of House File 1895, establishing a career and technical continuing education program. I am retired, though remain active in the career and technical education community at both the state and national levels, and have most recently provided consulting services in career and technical education programming for the states of South Dakota and Iowa. I also serve on the National Policy Committee for the Administration Division of the Association for Career and Technical Education. I retired from the Minnesota Department of Education in 2014 after serving for nearly 15 years as supervisor of the section of that department dealing with career and technical education programs. And before that, I served 17 years as a district administrator of career and technical education for the North St. Paul schools and for the Carver Scott Cooperative Center in Chaska. Career and technical education in Minnesota has undergone many changes in the past 15 years, most notably its alignment of programming and planning through a structure of consortia that involve both K-12 school districts and two-year colleges. Minnesota is unique in the nation in maintaining such a structure, and under this arrangement, many opportunities have been promoted to help students make the transition from their high school programs into technical education programs at the state's community and technical colleges. Unfortunately, the positive moves that have occurred under Minnesota's CTE consortium model have been negatively impacted by a shortage of CTE teachers in the state's high schools. And while the Minnesota legislature directed significant changes to the process for teacher licensure in the state with its adoption of a tiered licensure system, including provisions for teachers of career and technical education to enter the field at Tier 1 or Tier 2, there remain many barriers to recruiting teachers into high school career and technical education programming, most notably the baccalaureate degree requirement for advancement in the teaching profession. At one time, Minnesota teaching rules required paid experience outside of education in the field for career and technical teachers. And while this requirement had its challenges, it recognized the important role of outside experience in gaining a deep understanding of career content. House File 1895-2 recognizes that content knowledge can be gained through more than a college classroom by allowing 3 options to be eligible to participate in the career continuing education program: an associate degree in a content-specific career and technical education field, an industry-recognized professional credential in a content-specific field, or 5 years of verifiable work experience in a content-specific career and technical education field. Any of these options would be supplemented by individually designed coursework to address any occupational content not reflected in the option and to address the teaching methodology requirements reflected in Minnesota Rule 8710-2000, Standards of Effective Practice for Teachers, and 8710-8000, Core Skills for Teachers of Career and Technical Education. All required standards of the Professional Educator Licensing and Standards Board would be met. The idea of identifying an individually designed pathway to teacher licensure is not new. Prior to 2014, 2 of the state's higher education institutions provided such pathways for teachers of career and technical education, which was especially important because then and now there are few or no teacher preparation programs within the state to prepare for several of the CTE teaching licenses, most notably in medical careers and various service occupations. So I applaud the work of Representative Bierman and the authors of House File 1895 to provide Minnesota with quality career and technical education teachers through the establishment of the Career and Technical Continuing Education Program, and I urge its adoption by this committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there anyone else in the audience that would like to testify? Is there anyone? Okay. Are there questions by members? Okay, Representative Runbeck.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Are there teacher organizations, educational organizations that are supporting the bill?
Representative Bierman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative, I've spoken with, well, certainly Pellsby and Minnesota Teachers Association and various school boards that I've spoken to. We've had testifiers in other education policy committees. We had Superintendent of Fairmont Schools up here who spoke on the need for just sort of this kind of training program. They have cobbled together something down there that's working very effectively for them and garnering a larger and larger number of students who have interest in some of those trade school, vocational school participation. So I've seen the interest at all levels of the groups I've spoken to thus far.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Nornes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Bierman, I'm just wondering, have you also spoken to anyone at Minnesota State to see what their reaction is?
Representative Bierman.
I have not spoken to Minnesota State on this issue, no, sir.
Okay, Representative Poppy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a clarification on Superintendent Brown, who was here to testify about career and technical ed, and they are using a faculty member who has a 4-year degree. And so it was more about the students and making sure that they had the opportunity to be able to take classes outside of, and for the state to support that outside of the school day. This is a little bit different in actually allowing people who have a 2-year degree to be able to become a licensed teacher. So I think there's just to clarify what the difference is here.
Madam Chair,
Representative Bierman.
thank you, Representative Poppy, for that clarification. It was more just the further conversation regarding his endorsement and enthusiasm for the general program statewide, that we needed to invest in it a little further to get opportunities to more students. But you're absolutely correct.
Representative Lehman.
Madam Chair, my question pretty much was what Representative Nornes was at. I was wondering if somebody from Minnesota State Colleges might be here to kind of give us their reaction.
Yes, they are. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Geraldine Jargo, Jeralyn, Jargo, Jargo. And my federal title is State Director of Career and Technical Education. My state title is System Director. So I have the honor of being employed by Minnesota State Colleges. I work very closely with Minnesota Department of Education, specifically in career and technical education. So I'm here to say we need something to help our career and technical programs in high schools have teachers. So this bill, if you think about how you become or how you teach in a high school right now, you have to have that occupational proficiency. You often have to have recency, and right now you'd have to have an associate degree. But you'd only be employed for 1 year, and then you have to reapply. And when you reapply, we're asking you to verify that you're part of a teacher education program. And as Dan Smith said, in several cases, no program exists. Health, occupation, manufacturing, if you are not already a teacher. So what's kind of funny, we're the last agenda of the day, but this bill supports a lot of the other things that happened. Let's pretend I gotta look who's around the table. I'm a nurse and I want to teach in an intermediate school district, and I have a bachelor's degree. I can do that on a special license for 1 year. And the district and I have to apply for that. And we're doing that saying I'm in an educational program. No medical or health occupation program exists in the state of Minnesota. So first of all, I don't want to say you're lying, but there's no program. So what we can do right now with the current formal programs in Minnesota State is have you, if you have a baccalaureate, take on a master's program in career and instruction. That's a minimum of 30 credits at a master level. Run the numbers, and now we are bumped into what's your student debt. And it's going to take you probably 5 years because you're going to work full time. So what I like about this bill and why I would endorse it as the state director is it provides an alternative, and it's calling it a continuing education. It's not requiring masters. It's not requiring a master's in terms of X number of credits, start and end time, or the financial debt that might be there. It is saying to the universities, something has to be non-traditional, it has to be different, and here you go. And we ask you to be responsible. So thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you very much. Representative Quam.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And a lot of what we're touching on was things that we were debating when we went to the tiered licensure system and some of the changes there. And just keep in mind to the author, you know, when you're working on this bill, maybe learn from some of the activities and debates that went around that, because if it's something that's familiar, oftentimes it's easier to understand.
Representative Poppy.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I don't want to delay this much longer, but so from Minnesota State System Office, you're stating that you support this bill, and this is asking the Minnesota State University system to develop, it must develop a 2-year non-conventional continuing ed pathway program. What prevents you right now from doing that?
Okay, Ms. Dargan.
Madam Chair, Representative, it really is a numbers game. I don't know how else to say it. We talked about this a lot when we talked about the 4-tier and bringing alternatives in. Right now, let's take health occupations or medical, because I use that. The number of students that you would enroll in a program at a university is low. And we can't guarantee it every year. It's going to cycle up and down. We're going to have, I'll make this up, 12 health occupation faculty that go through a program, and then we're not going to need them for 2 years. So when you look at the business requirements of a university program, we aren't going to have enough tuition to support the expenses, and certainly not enough tuition to offset curriculum development, the student teaching or supervision and mentoring for an extended period of time.
Representative Cleavorn.
Madam Chair and members,
the comment that you just made is very concerning to me. So you're saying that there is not enough critical mass at this moment to warrant the program? Is that what I just heard?
Ms. Jargan.
If a single institution had to sustain this long-term, we couldn't guarantee it. It's not the same as Rhetoric 101, where you know you're going to have 60 head count for every freshman year. So it's a financial risk, and one of the reasons that both the University of Minnesota and Bemidji State didn't stay long-term in the program. It's a risk. And because there are occupational competencies that are required as well as pedagogy, and we all enter at a different place, it's really many individualized programs which are intensive on the faculty and the expense side of it. So it is time and resource intensive. It is a risk for a university to take this on. I'll use two other examples. Legislatively, the teacher agriculture program at Southwest was supported and financially supported for 3 years in its ramp up. Every year, it's a federal grant, Perkins Grant puts money into Southwest to support what's needed for the competencies for our post-secondary career and technical educations for those required classes. It's just not large numbers.
Thank you. Representative Cleaver, did you have a follow-up before we?
Yes, and then
wrap
I'll
up?
keep it very short, Madam
Okay.
Chair. Okay, so the appropriations for this are open-ended at the moment.
Yes.
Do we have any guess as to what that appropriation might look like? And what the intended result that we would receive for that appropriation?
Ms. Jargan.
I can cite two other bills that were similar. The agriculture education was, I believe, a 3-year bill, about $76,000 annually over a 3-year time period. That was only one licensure area, though, and we would want more than that. The other bill that has some similarity is the $3 million appropriation that happened in Northwest Minnesota, and that was specifically around helping our K-12 faculty get the 18 credits of general education, no, it's not general, but content-specific education for concurrent enrollment. So those are two bills that I could cite, and I'll just end it there.
Okay, Mr. Smith.
Yeah,
if you could
thank you,
be
Madam
brief.
Chair,
We have
if
one
I
more
may.
question left
Right, if I
on our
may.
list.
Just add on that point, I'm sorry, I've been out of the department for 5 years, so I don't remember the numbers exactly. We, up until 2014, did support the University of Minnesota to offer kind of something similar, and I believe we used approximately $100,000 a year in federal funds to do that. It was a decision of the department in 2014 to stop using its federal funds in that way.
Representative.
Thank you, Madam.
Yeah, thank you. Representative Pryor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I don't want to go into a lot of details, but I'm just actually trying to understand the bill and what it would do that we don't have right now and that we want to do in the future. So this would be a teaching program for technical in K through 12, and that you would do it with an associate degree and not get a 4-year degree to be able to qualify, be saying that you've done a qualified teaching program and therefore can qualify in a Tier 1 license or a Tier 2 license? Is that, and because I know that we're going into the K through 12 system too at this point.
Ms. Jargan?
Madam Chair, to be fully licensed at the top end, you would need to work toward a baccalaureate degree. What we find is the folks who are now currently filling these roles often have a baccalaureate degree. Nursing is an easy example. We've got a paramedic at Anoka would be an example. If we're pulling from transportation, automotive, manufacturing, typically they would not have a 4-year degree. So ideally, they would move that way. They would not have to, but at least with integrity, when you check the box that says you're involved in a teaching education program, you actually are involved in a teaching education program.
Thank you. Okay, Representative Bierman, would you like to state some closing remarks?
I just reiterate the need for this. In my current business, I work with a lot of building trades, and I see the shortages from virtually every contractor that I work with. So there is this great need out there, and I think it's just another option for our youth to have many more direct access links into the trades, and I know that the trades themselves would like to have more access to help those students with internships during high school and get them more integrated just as an internship while they're in high school to see what those trades are like. And Minnesota needs a lot of tradespeople in the immediate future. So I hope you'll consider this, and we can get working on it, get the proper teachers, and expand the programs throughout the state.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Representative Zhang.
Renew motion to lay over House File 1895 for possible inclusion.
Okay, Representative Zhang makes the motion that House File 1895 be laid over for possible inclusion in the higher education omnibus bill. A new name. The motion passes. Okay, oh, and the meeting is adjourned.